guys, so we're off eventing to Great Chew. Oh my god, I fell down. To Great Chew today, so I'm just going to get Dusty in from field. As you notice, it's actually really light. That's because our times aren't till, I think our dressage is at 4, so we've got quite late times. But, so it's like, maybe like 11, I have no idea what time it is. But I've got all my stuff in the car and the trailer is all packed, and so now the only thing to do is get Dusty ready. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab him. My mum's eventing as well, so you'll probably see like our times are quite close, so it'll be very interesting to see what we're doing. Anyway, so it rained last night, so Dusty's, I'm just gonna put his other rug on so he can dry off, but he's ready. Hey, Toby. Ah. Come on, Dust. So just bringing up Dusty. I will not be able to put any music on. I mean, I'm gonna have to make it non-copyright music because we listen to music when we get ready. So I'm probably gonna be stepping away. Yeah, good. He actually looks not too bad. Come on. Boys. Oh. Hello. Hello. One was quite quick out the start box, so we needed to ride forward. But then it was a nice jump. It was the same jump as the 100, but it was a really straightforward fence. Fence number 2, again, just a pheasant feeder, quite an open jump, very nice. Then we came to fence 3, which was quite wide, but again, a really nice fence. Got a really good stride to that, so really pleased. Then there was a lot of mud, and it had obviously been like used quite a lot, so it was quite slippy, so I knew that I wanted to trot this. Also, it was like 2 steps, one after another, and also straight after that there was a sharp right turn to like a brush, but it had like one side higher than the other, which you can see here. And then after that, another quite straightforward fence. This fence was quite skinny, but it's a nice fence. Then we had normal straightforward. Fence 8 was just like a saw fence, just ride forward, just nice fence. And then 9's double, 9A and B, and it was like an angle, two houses on an angle. But if you just rode straight through, it would ride nicely. Top. And then for this fence, it was quite sharp. You had to quite over to the left, because as soon as you jumped it, you had to be turning right to a step up, which you can see here. So you had to really make sure they were balanced because it was quite sharp. Water, the fence was quite close to the water, and you had to go quite far close to a tree to get straight for it. And then you go straight through the water, out the other side, and then before the step up, it was again quite muddy. The ground was quite wet, obviously because it was like the 3rd day they've run it. Then we've got this little tree which had like a dip in it, and it was quite a sharp turn. She had like go under another tree, but a really nice fence. Then we've got just a pheasant feeder, not pheasant feeder, a hay cart kind of thing, really nice. And then the final fence is just like a castle-y thing. It's not really a castle at all, but that, and then over the finish line. So right before my dressage test, my mum went in, like she came out as I was going in, so Dusty warmed up really nicely, but then the second we got in our test, like the brains went a little bit out the window. As you can see, it's quite rushed and not very relaxed at all. It was also really muddy by that letter, so Dusty didn't particularly like trotting through there. And then also on the serpentine, I decided to do sitting trot because he was just rushing off with me, so I had a little bit more control. But some parts actually were really nice. He warmed up really nicely. He went to pick up the wrong lead. He wasn't really concentrating, but then quickly changed it to the correct lead. Then our canter was quite rushed, and then here you can see he breaks into trot, and then quickly try and correct it, but you can see it's quite muddy. And then again he tries to canter. He was just a bit rushed and not very relaxed. And then in his free walk, as you can see, like, he wasn't really concentrating. He was in his own world, thinking and looking over the hedges, rather than trying to focus on walking. So that was another accidental canter. He was having a little bit of a rush and not really focusing too much on me. And then canter, and then here you can see I tried to pull him slightly inside of the mud so we didn't go through it, to allow him to keep his balance a bit better because he wasn't really concentrating. So I think here I went inside, inside again. And then, see, he was just very rushy. And then I completely forgot to salute and start a pattern, and then remembered. So as you can see in the show jumping, we actually had quite a lot of control, but you can see it's quite muddy, but they had moved the fences so you weren't cantering on the really muddy bits, but got them slightly close, but jumped it. And then on this one, I asked for the bigger stride, and he was second guessed himself. Should have had a bit more leg on because it was quite sticky. Then he actually cantered into this one. We got quite a nice stride, flew it. Really set him up for this one because it was quite like just an upright. Jumped it nicely. Then here I pushed on way too much and got him quite close, but sorted it out. Then we came around to the double, which I knew I needed to get. No, I didn't. This is when I put in an extra stride because we jumped in quite short because of the mud. But it flowed quite nicely. And then came around to the green one. And again, jumped it really nicely. And here I should have put my leg on and I kind of killed the engine. So we got very close and he was honestly so good to jump it. So then got my act together and then rode the last fence and he jumped it really, really nicely. And then show jumping, cross country. And So here, like about here somewhere, I saw a big stride. There we go. But he jumped it really nicely. And then coming down to these steps, I really slowed down and got him under control. So he had a nice little pop down the steps, really nicely. And then here, I see I let him kind of drift out, and neither of us really locked onto it. So I just calmed him down, took him around again, and then presented him again, and rode it this time, and he flew it. Hi guys, so, pothole. So I was just gonna come on and explain. This is what happens when you have no focus on Dusty. So I was just gonna come on and explain a little bit about my event yesterday, because it didn't quite go to plan. Like, on paper, definitely not the best day ever. But I've sat down and like had a little think about it, and like just gonna explain and like give you like my opinion on what happened, and yeah. So started off, went over to the dressage, and he was really lively because my mum went just before, or like we kind of went at the same time, but then she was just ahead of me. And so he was quite lively going over, but then warmed up absolutely perfectly. Like, I was feeling really, really, really good about my test. Like, I was like, oh, this will be so nice. Like, honestly, the best he's ever warmed up. And, but then, obviously, hang on, I'll get back to you in a minute. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. My dressage test felt really nice, my warm-up felt really nice, and then my time was like 6 minutes before my mum's, so we shouldn't have been in the arena at the same time. But my mum's section was running early. Come on. So my mum's section was running early, so then she went in before I did, which was fine. Apart from as she was coming out, I was sent in. So Dusty then saw Millaby coming out, and then Mum went back to the lorry, and therefore I would say I lost his concentration for most of the test. But he didn't do too badly. He came out with 33.5, I think. So I was quite happy with it. I mean, considering that my mum had just gone in and like he was like whinnying. But you'll have seen it. It's not the nicest, and it's not very relaxed. And we trot in our canter and canter in our trot. So yeah, it's not a test that I'd want to repeat. But actually, I was really pleased because he did it, and he did stay in the arena, and it was a lot less frantic than some of his other tests. And then also, because we were at the end of the day, there wasn't much of a gap between our phases, so we had more time on our times, but then they just kept saying, come over when you're ready, you know. Like, basically, when I went to the cross country, I was like the second last to run, and the one before me, yeah, I was like the second last to run of the day. Doing this down a really, really grassy path is not my best widest decision ever. So then show jumping, warm-up was horrible. It was so boggy. I really didn't do much. I just did a cross pole and then upright, and then I went in. He went in really, really calmly, and it was the first round I've ever actually had enough control. This piece of cow parsley actually had control in, which was really, really nice. But I think I didn't. One of them I just got way too close, which is why I had a pole, which was just my fault completely messed it up. But he actually jumped really nicely. I could have had more leg on, but I didn't. So yeah. And then so I went and warmed up for the cross country, and it was honestly horrible ground. but I barely did anything in the warm-up. I just kind of cantered and then popped a fence, and then I started, and he started really, really well actually, and flew out the start box and jumped number 1 really, really well, and then it got to about number 5, and there were some steps down, like you've probably seen it, and then like a right turn to a hedge, but it was like cut like that, and neither of us really read it properly, so we just had a little run out. So came round, did it again, rode it this time, got over it. Then really good, the next couple we did, there was some angled houses, flew them, a skinny house, flew it. Then the one before the water was like a log, and then 2 steps, 2 strides, and then the water, and then come out 2 strides, and then a step up. And I just think neither of us really saw, I saw the water, I knew the water was there. Didn't really see the water until the last minute, so we had a little bit of a look at it, stop, and then we came around and I rode it better. Cleared it, through the water, up, and then over the next one. And then the next one, which was really, the next jump was, I don't know if it was the next jump, because I can't quite remember, but it was like a fence, and then you had to do a really tight right turn up a step. He flew it, they did a log, and towards the end of the course he got so much better, flying, got his rhythm, really like feeling good, finished feeling a lot better than in the middle. Also I think it was really wet, so I didn't ride it quite as well as I should have, because I was worried about slipping, even though he didn't slip. So I don't know, I feel like if I'd have ridden better we would have gone clear, but it was a very educational day, and because we were only shooting it as like schooling, it's good, it was fine. Also, the other thing I was going to say is I'm trying to post like not just the positive. So yesterday wasn't the best event that I've done, far from it on paper, but I learned a lot from it, and so did Dusty, and we're a lot better prepared now than we were. So even if things don't go quite to plan, there's always like things you can take away from it, and things that went well and things that didn't go so well. Anyway, so it's the day after, so I'm just going to take Dusty out for a little hack today. He's having the day off tomorrow, and then hopefully next weekend, fingers crossed, we'll go a bit better than this weekend at Chillington. But it was a very, very educational day, and I think both of us learned a lot. And although not everyone has perfect days all the time, barely anyone has perfect days all the time, no one has perfect days all the time, and I just think that I put so much pressure on myself to do like well. I feel like that's not always, it's not going to always go well, and you actually have to take things as they come, and if things don't go well, just take it and try and improve on it. So I've had a big think about it, and yeah, I think Dusty is happy. He doesn't care. He enjoyed himself. He thought he did fabulous, didn't you? But yeah, in the shooting I completely buried him into one of the fences. He was honestly so good to jump it. I thought he was going to stop. I like got him right into the bottom of it. I think with the mud I didn't have enough leg on. But yeah. Also, the other thing I was going to say is when things don't always go to plan, try and make it so it makes you more determined to do better next time. So I know what happened this time, and it was quite a technical 90. Like, you don't normally get that many technical things, but you've got to try and like make it so that although it didn't go quite to plan, it means you're more determined to next time, and hopefully then it will go better, which is why I'm trying to stay very positive about it. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end this vlog. I might have some more things to say, but I can't think of anything right now. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, next weekend will go slightly better. It is only an 80 because it qualified for the 80 championships. So yeah, fingers crossed it goes better. Then we'll hopefully, if that one goes well, step back up to 90 again. Because the height isn't an issue. It's more I need to keep him between my hand and leg, because I tend to
he's quite forward, so I tend to take my leg off too much, which I'm trying to work on and keep my leg on rather than just trusting him.